Good evening and welcome to the Luneburg Agricultural Commission meeting. We have a little blurb of reading to do. So the town of Luneburg, in response to the COVID-19 coronavirus, is currently following the guidance from Luneburg Board of Health, Massachusetts Department of Public Health, and the CDC regarding the virus and steps communities can take to prevent the spread, and all town facilities are currently closed to the public. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC 30A section 20, all public meetings are being conducted remotely. This meeting will be broadcast live through local access cable, on Facebook Live, and on the public access Facebook page, and will be able to be found on the Luneburg Access YouTube channel within 24 hours after the meeting in perpetuity. The following information is also provided for members of the public that would like to participate in the meeting remotely. And if they can't get in, they're not going to be able to hear this, so I'm not going to bother to read it. No, okay. So basically, that's the spiel with a bunch of ways to get in here. And if you're not already in here, you're not going to be able to hear it. So it makes no sense to read it. So again, Matthew Allison, I'm the chair. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 7:08. And we like to start our meetings off with, well, call to order. We are all here. We've got 5 members, 1 alternate member, and 2 market managers. The listing of the members, 2 of them are sharing an online connection. So we are all here. So first, the second thing is public comment, open discussion. I want to start off by asking if anybody or who was able to read the Luneburg Ledger last week, because one of our members, their farm made the front page. Good job, Jorge. All right. Well, I don't hear any comments, so apparently we don't have any.
Jorge, I gotta say, White Mars grows some awesome vegetables. We have them every week.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing they made front page, and if anyone deserves it, it's them.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Thanks.
Hey, Jorge, no problem.
Of course.
And thanks, Matt, for giving the contact, Matt. Thanks.
Oh,
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. So the second thing on our agenda is review and approve the minutes. I have finished them, but I was not able to get them copied and off to everybody today. So they'll have to wait till next meeting. And our first order of new business is reorganization. So what that entails is we've got officers, we've got the chair, the vice chair, and the clerk. And if we decide to get fancy and big and start becoming more involved in the general town government, then we might actually take on some committee positions. And actually, with the second item of our new business, which is the Economic Development Committee, we will have a recommendation for appointment to the planning board. So that person may become part of our meetings and give us reports on the Economic Development Committee. If they don't, I can still do that because they report to the planning board, and Paula Bertram is our ex officio from planning. So we will get regular updates on how that committee is going. And just to update, I'll wait till that agenda item comes up. But so reorganization. I'll take nominations for the chair, and then it'll have to be seconded. And then if there's other nominations, then they'll also have to be seconded. If there are more than one nomination for any position, then when it comes time to vote yay or nay for a specific nomination, you only get to vote for one person.
Can you go through the roles for each thing, for each position?
So the chairman, the chairperson, excuse me, basically writes the agenda and runs the meeting. Basically the contact person for the committee, for the commission, outside of meetings. And I've enjoyed being involved with the market, and I've basically been asked to be the greeter there. So if I'm not elected chair, I can continue to do that, or the new chair could do that. And the chair pretty much is kind of a suggestive role. In observation of other boards and commissions and committees and groups, the chair typically doesn't make motions, but can ask for motions. The chair, like I said, runs the meeting. So if something gets contentious, then there's supposedly a gavel. Some of the other boards are very not as lax as we are. And the chair basically sets the tone for the meeting. However they want to run the meeting, that is the purview of the chairperson. The vice chair, I'm not sure that they have any specific duties other than if, in the absence of the chairperson, they would be the acting chair. So if the chairperson is not there, then the vice chair runs the meeting and has all the duties of the chairperson. The clerk is the third in line. So since we're only a 5-member board right now, we can't have a meeting with less than 3 people. So it's possible that the clerk, if the chair and the vice chair are not there and there are 3 members, then the chair would be, the clerk would be the effective chairperson. And the clerk typically writes the minutes. So basically, while we're doing the Zoom meetings, it's fairly easy to just watch the meeting again and write notes down. And basically that's all minutes are notes of the meeting. And basically the important thing about minutes is the motions. They need to be recorded of who made the motion, who seconded the motion, and then well, during the Zoom meetings, we have to do roll call votes. So each individual member is asked for their input, either yay or nay or abstain. And that needs to be recorded accurately in the minutes. So I can't think of anything else to describe about those. Are there any more questions?
Oh, I have one question. Is
Okay.
there there's a treasurer too, right? Or secretary or?
No,
No.
I mean, we don't have any money, right?
Not a lot.
Well, I
So
mean,
it's
yeah.
So it's just chair, vice chair, and clerk. That's all we have?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Okay.
What did you mean about getting more involved in the town government?
Well, I've referred to the AgCom in numerous ways, and I'm not sure I want to repeat a lot of them. Don't get me wrong, I love the Agricultural Commission. I've been involved since they became a commission. It just seems, in general, agriculture, in general, in conversations with people and on boards and in groups, everybody says they love farming and agriculture and the rural nature of the town. But when it comes to doing anything for the farmers and the agriculturalists and the rural nature of the town, I hardly ever hear AgCom mentioned. I don't really feel like we're ever reached out to for anything. Case in point was the Board of Selectmen meeting on Tuesday. There was a commercial agriculture venture. I was not informed anything about that, and I didn't find out about it until the day of, and I saw it on their agenda. When I saw it on their agenda, I had to wonder if lettuce was actually referencing marijuana, because that they do see those, but and I don't know if anybody is aware of the so I'm going to back up and make this comment. The Board of Selectmen saw an applicant looking to put in, I think it was 1 million square foot greenhouse at the old Levite property, right?
Yep.
It's basically all hydroponic lettuce, and it sounds like a great thing. It doesn't sound like it's going to really affect any local farms or farmers or businesses because it's going to direct sale. I believe what they said was Walmart in Hannaford.
Yep.
It could take away, it could take away employees from local farmers though, if you
It
think
could.
about it.
It could, but it's an indoor greenhouse, a hydroponic. I mean, it's not going to take the 20 people to harvest like it would for a 1 million square foot field.
I mean, I really think this should have gone through AgCom. So we could have some farmers talk about it and the impact of, you know, Unitil and the water department. I mean, it just goes on and on. It just, I think we should have been heard, even though we can't per se run it. We can't tell them what to do. You know, I think it should have come to our attention because I mean, agricultural farming, lettuce, I mean, it all seems to go together.
Right. I totally agree with that.
I'm gonna reach out to Sean and have him kind of present it to us too.
Sean O'Neill?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
He lives in Charlemont, so the local. He said he's gonna be around for site visits and everything. So
Okay.
they have a long road ahead of them.
Well, he doesn't have to come to Luneburg to go to a meeting. He can just sit down at his computer, right?
Yep.
And we may want to start taking advantage of that to start getting some outside input and maybe some speakers. It'd be a lot easier to schedule for other people rather than having to travel.
Right.
Just something to think about.
But my question, Matt, how come we didn't, how come no one ever came to us? Do we know?
I'm not sure, and I'm not really going to push the envelope too much because as far as I know, that was the first public appearance of this.
Yeah.
And they've got a very rigid, short timeline to get up and running. And it was mentioned at conservation last night too. And there was a little bit of skepticism as whether they can actually get what they want done in the time that they've outlined.
Okay.
But again, there's going to be many more appearances, and some of the asks that they made, or suggestions, or questions, certainly were for the Board of Selectmen. I mean, they were talking about putting in a well that could supplement the Luneburg Water District, and that area is right next to one of the towers, and they were talking about municipal sewer. And this is all stuff that was in that 10-year plus application for the other half of the Levitt property when they were trying to get houses there.
Yeah.
And that may help. I'm not sure how much. In fact, Ryan, when you reach out to this person, mention to them that that I am an AgCom member, and I've also been a planning board member for numerous years when that application was being made. So I have some information, and it's readily available to them if they ask at the planning department. But anyway, there was a whole bunch of stuff that was well out of our purview.
Mm-hmm.
But it just is typical that nobody let the AgCom know about anything, and we've had farm complaints that we've heard about but have never really gotten to the AgCom, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's one of the things that was a primary benefit of having an agricultural commission, to keep complaints local before they went to the state level. But I don't think anything's gone to the state level without having been brought to us.
No.
I think it probably just went away. Anyways, so that's what I meant about getting more involved. Ryan was a member of the sewer commission, and we would have input from his experiences there to inform and guide us on certain things. And I'm a member of the planning board, and I bring in some of the insight from that group. So technically, I mean, I could give a committee report on planning board if anybody was interested to have that. Oftentimes, I will try to make point to bring things up that are important in my mind to the agricultural commission. But it just hasn't happened. You know, we're a bunch of farmers and we're looking out for agriculture, and that's what we're charged with. We're trying to promote agriculture in town. And any way we can do it is a benefit. And the more often we do it and the more places we do it, the better exposure we get. So
Can we kindly remind the Board of Selectmen and any other areas that we may need to, that we are here and here to help and be a benefit in a way? Because I have to agree with Greg that I think we should have been notified of the lettuce farm and everything. Not that if we could do anything, but it is agricultural in town and we are the Ag Commission.
Exactly. It's commercial agriculture, and I mean, anybody that's in chapter technically are supposed to be doing commercial agriculture. And anybody that's got an APR. So, I mean, and actually qualifying as a farm, I understand it to be qualifying under commercial agriculture. But neither here nor there. Back to the reorganization. Are there any more questions about the process of nominating and seconding and voting in chairperson, vice chair, and clerk? Okay.
We don't have a clerk right now, right? Correct?
On the agenda, it says that Burns is the clerk, but I couldn't talk him into writing the minutes. So, so we'll start top down. So I'll take nominations for the chairperson.
I'll nominate Matt Allison for chair.
Okay, is there a second? Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Are there any other nominations for chair? Okay, seeing none, hearing none. All in favor? We're going to have to do this roll call, so I will call your name. Mr. Stover.
Aye.
Mr. Burns.
Aye.
Mr. Marzuka.
Aye.
Ms. Holman.
Aye.
And an aye for myself. Thank you very much. So now I'll take nominations for vice chair. So currently Ryan Stover is vice
Gary
chair.
Wright.
So I need a nomination and a second. Anybody?
I nominate Mary Ray. Is that right? If
You
no
want
one-
no, you nominate Mary Ray?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none, then all in favor, roll call. Mr. Stover,
Aye.
Mr. Burns,
Aye.
Mr. Marzuka,
Aye.
and Ms. Holman.
Aye.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. So now I'll take nominations for clerk.
Greg Burns.
You nominate Greg Burns.
Yes.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for clerk? Hearing none. All in favor, we'll roll call. Mr. Stover,
Aye.
Mr. Burns,
Aye.
Mr. Marzuka,
Aye.
Ms. Holman.
Aye.
Excellent. Well, very good. We are reorganized. And I didn't write any of that down, so I'm just gonna have to review the meeting. But it was me and Mary Ray and Greg Burns. All right. I'm gonna have to try again to get you to write the minutes, Greg. What do you think?
Okay, you might not be able to read them, but I'll write it.
Well, they need to be typed, actually, so everybody can read them. All right, but we'll get back to that. So we are reorganized. This stupid message. So our next item is a new business is Economic Development Committee applicant, discuss and recommend. So the planning board put this charge together at the end of last year, and the Agricultural Commission has a recommendation for a business owner in Lunenburg to be a member of the Economic Development Committee, which has not met yet. It still does not have a full membership. We appointed 2 people at our Monday planning board meeting. One was J.C. Nickel from Smokestack Roaster and Kathy Clark from town. She runs the flower shop in the center of town, and she owns it. And I think it was great because both of those appointments were citizens at large from planning board, and neither one of them were required to be business owners, but both of them are. So I thought that was great. So in fact, other than one of the ex officio members, our recommendation is the only one that's required to own a business, I believe. I don't have the charge right in front of me, but from recollection. So ideally, we'd want to find somebody in Luneburg that owns a business, agriculturally related, that we can keep in touch with, that we can either get to come to our meetings or have regular communication with.
They don't have to be appointed on the commission though?
So how that will work is that we would get together and interview or talk to, or at least understand that someone is interested in it, and discuss among ourselves to come up with a recommendation. And then that recommendation would be forwarded to the planning board. Ideally, this person would fill out a talent bank form. But as I understand, it's not a necessity. It's just, it's nice. But if we're making a recommendation because somebody comes to us that's interested, I guess it's not necessary. But it's always better to err on the side of caution, I think. But neither here nor there. It would be a recommendation from the Agricultural Commission to the planning board, and the planning board would make the appointment. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to brainstorm and think of all the people you know, that you interact with, that are agricultural people, farm, equestrian, food, care, anything that's involved with farming and agriculture, that owns a business and would potentially be interested. And we can feel free to throw out names here right now, or just keep it in the back of your mind, and next time you see that person, mention it to them. I've distributed the charge to the previous members, aside from Mary Ray and Kira. The charge is available on the planning board's town page, and it's the Economic Development Committee charge, I think is what it's called. If you need that to describe the position, but basically it hasn't taken life yet. It hasn't, they haven't met. They need to have 3 members that are voting members. So the ex officio members, currently we have Tom Alonso from the Board of Selectmen. We have Paula Bertram from Planning Board. And there are 1, 2, I believe there's at least 1 more ex officio that needs to be a business owner that's appointed by planning. But the ex officio members don't vote. They like the alternate on our group. They can participate, they can speak, they can work on stuff. They're basically a member that doesn't vote. I'm not entirely sure what the benefit is of having a member that doesn't vote. I do know. The benefit of the alternates is if the voting membership does not comprise the quorum, which is the number of people required to have a public meeting, then they can sit in for that person and vote, I believe. I'll have to follow up on that. That's my ditty on the Economic Development Committee. And just to give you some history on it, would somebody had something to say?
Yeah, with where it's not a finalized board or thing yet, could you maybe reach out to them and see how stern they are on the business owner part? Because I'm not a business owner, but I'm a manager, and I would be willing to be on it.
Okay,
We own the business, so.
well,
I think that's kind of a hard criteria for, especially for agricultural, to find time for the business owner to get out there and, you know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean?
oh yeah, no
We
doubt.
might have trouble filling that or finding someone to fill it, because I was just thinking of Tammy at Pinefall
Mhm.
is a business owner and brings business to the town, but you're not going to get her off the farm to go.
No, I've reached out to Tammy on numerous
Yeah.
things. She just can't.
Yeah.
And it's completely understandable. I mean, I understand it. So as far as the requirement of being a business owner, that's a holdover from when the Board of Selectmen were considering making this charge. And my understanding is that the charge itself was written originally by the town manager and the land use director after we had multiple listening sessions, charrettes, group meetings, and discussions about general economic development in town. And what they had written then made total sense to me as far as what we had received for the bulk of public input. And a lot of those meetings were not really well attended, but there were numerous recommendations to assist the existing farms, existing businesses, and the majority of, no, I don't want to say the majority, but consideration to farming and agriculture was certainly mentioned numerous times. And I was at the meeting when the Board of Selectmen finally read the charge and unanimously voted to table it. And my impression from that meeting was that because it focused on farming and agriculture, and it didn't seem that that's what the Board of Selectmen at that time wanted to put forth and foster. I'm not quite sure, but
Or even thinking of like the younger generations, if you had a son on the farm that wanted to be it, but technically isn't the business owner, his father is, you know what I mean? Is he out for that?
well, that would be something that we could talk about. If it was a family farm and he's a member of the family, then, I mean, I could see a way of, I mean, I'm a member of the Allison Acres.
That'd be.
I'm a member of that family, and I've got my own home. I don't live there, but I still consider myself a member of that business. So I can see it coming from both ways, and that would probably be something that would need to be addressed at the planning board. And as far as changing it, it's not written in stone, but it is written down and it's recorded. So if the requirement was to go away, it would have to be done by the planning board. But it is a possibility. And again, just to regurgitate, I think it's important that the appointment, the recommendation for appointment from the Agricultural Commission be someone who is at that level, because the business owner is not only aware of the clients and the people that come and go and the products and what goes on, but I mean they're involved in the bills and the payments and the contracts and what you've got to do to get this done. And I think it's important to have that level of experience and understanding of the agriculture and farming or farming that they do in that group, simply because it is for economic development. But again, these are all just my opinions and my understanding as being a member of the planning board. So
The reality is the list is longer of the ones who won't participate. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
We've reached out to everyone in town, but it would definitely have to be someone younger.
yeah, so there's that. And also technically it doesn't specify what type of business. The charge does not. My personal desire would be that they would be heavily involved in farming and or agriculture, but like Woody would be eligible, as far as I can tell, right? He's got a farm service,
Mhm.
and he owns that business. And any number of other people, any family farm owners. So anyways, I'm anxious to get that position filled so that group can start meeting. And they're also, the conservation and the open space also have recommendations. So the open space ad hoc committee and the conservation commission. So it's a new group. These subcommittees, oftentimes they are just filled by a lot of the same people.
Mhm.
I didn't get capital planning back, so I've only got 2 now from planning board, but one of them, I'm an appointed member to this group, so I'm no longer just the liaison from planning. And I think we had a discussion on Monday about taking that off of our committee reports, but or changing it, whatever. I think I've dragged this out as long as I can. Are there any questions at all about that?
Well, I'm just gonna ask around and we'll go from there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep, that's all we're looking for. And we can't. I've got experience trying to fill positions, specifically in this group in the last few years, and in other groups. And what I found is you can't do everything for that person that needs to be done in order for them to become the member, because they need to do it themselves. They need to be interested enough and motivated enough to do the legwork that needs to be done to have that position. Just
Mhm.
So be bold, but don't be forceful, I guess, right? All right, anything more on that? Any questions or comments or concerns? All right, so now we're off to the Luneburg Community Farmers Market Report.
I'm out.
Uh-oh, she left. I can start off.
There you go.
Markets, considering the circumstances, I think we're doing pretty well. I'm thinking we're probably running, as far as customers flowing through, about 75% of what we've seen last year and the year before. The number of vendors is down, but we're getting each week more requests of how do we become a vendor at the market. So that's nice to see. I think people are less nervous about becoming vendors. But I mean, every business around here has a decrease in customer flow, and I don't think we can expect to be different from that. Everyone seems to be having a good time. We're getting lots of repeat customers, as we have in the past. Sheena, how many vendors are we running on average? Like 13?
Yeah, 13, 15. We have 2 new vendors this week that haven't been at the market yet, so, but they're per diem, I believe, and then we have some new ones coming on next week as well.
Nice.
We did have entertainment planned last week, but it was canceled at the last minute. So that was a little disappointing for us.
Yeah, and then we have Brian Weeks this week.
All right. Are we trying to do any specific themes for any upcoming days? Like, I remember we've done Fiber Day. We've had Vegetable Circus come. What else have we done for specifics?
I don't know. I mean, since we've been on, I don't think there was really anything like big specific. I don't know, we're just still following all the guidelines set by like the Board of Health and, you know, the Department of Health and everything, and trying to figure out like what we can do. We're lucky enough that we can actually have entertainment because a lot of markets aren't allowed to have that still, or
Right.
craft vendors, so we're allowed to have that. I just don't know, we can't build like a huge crowd. So if we do some sort of like theme day, it would have to be something that allows people to move through traffic.
That's
Specifically
right.
why I don't have the alpaca showing up, because I don't want people just to be there the whole time petting the alpacas and not moving along. So I think
Very
if
good.
everything alleviates, if things start alleviating with the Department of Health and everything that's going on, and Governor Baker issues, you know, a little more leniency, which is not going to happen anytime soon, I think that we would be able to have more like crowd gathering entertainment, and, you know,
Spread out
maybe
the
like an
seating areas.
informational thing.
Right. I miss not having those bales of hay there for people to sit down
I know,
and hang out.
yeah.
But you're right, we're lucky. I know Leominster's not allowing even outside entertainment. Scott Babineau was canceled at a couple of gigs that he had planned for outside.
Yeah, so those are gone, and craft vendors are not allowed at markets, certain markets, especially the bigger ones like in Boston area, because of what's going on.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right, so I know we all saw Kat last week, and she said they might be back this week, might be back next week.
I haven't heard from her. They were waiting to hear back from Slaughter Place to see if they were able to get it back to this week or when. I know they sent out a couple, so she was gonna let me know, but I haven't confirmed. What did you say, Greg?
I just talked to Ray and it did go out.
It did go out?
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, so it did come back. It came back though.
I gotta talk
Yeah,
to Ray.
we'll talk to Ray himself and see, because he's the one that they contact Kat, and then her and Ray go up there and get the cattle,
Okay,
the meat.
good.
Yep.
Very good, because I remember my neighbor had asked me a couple weeks ago about if we're going to have a fiber day, and I said I wasn't sure, but she had gone to one a couple years back that was quite successful. But like you say, it was 4 people spinning, and it drew a crowd.
Yeah,
So we're not supposed to be doing that.
right, for now. If the things alleviate, then maybe we could think about doing something like that, at least with the music person, the entertainer plays the music, people walk by, drop money in the tip jar, and then walk off. Or, you know what I mean? They don't have to stand there and like watch the individual play or sing. So which is nice.
Yep.
Yeah, because Latanzi's having live entertainment up there. I was wondering.
He just got it approved. I guess it was like this big ordeal. Like they didn't want Fitchburg at all to have it. And he was like fighting, you know, about it, and they finally
Oh, really?
approval. Yeah. They've been a little more, it's a little different in Fitchburg. I don't know exactly. I mean, they had that big complaint, what was it, a while ago with the chickens and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
farming. So that was a big complaint, and I guess that kind of was squashed. So.
Well, apparently Jim is the biggest farmer in Fitchburg now, so he may have a little
It's
extra.
the only big farm in Fitchburg.
All right. So is there anything more on the market report?
Mike? He says no. So there's nothing.
All right.
Everything's good.
All right. So I had spoken with Mary Ray, and there was an interest in getting some of this background on the ongoing items. And I'm still working on getting that data together. I've been out street recently. I apologize for not having it prepared. I almost promised to have it for next meeting, almost. But the big things on there that have been ongoing is a public market. There's an MGL, Mass General Law, that allows for towns over a population of 10,000 people to bring to town meeting the idea of voting in that general law, and it would allow.
Are we still talking market, farmers market?
Nope.
I
No.
don't think so.
I had one question.
Okay.
I need to conduct some kind of submit papers to get reimbursed on the plexiglass. How do I do that? Who do I send it to?
Wasn't there an additional fee to the vendors that was gonna cover that?
Yeah, but
Yes, there was. I have the money with me. I have all the stuff. I have a couple more vendors jumping on that they're gonna purchase it this Sunday. Sorry, it says Saturday. I have the money.
do I
So-
submit it to the town? Like, how do I?
No, it comes directly from the vendors. There was no town submission, so I have it and it's yours because you got it for us, so
Okay, cool.
the money I have is going back to you.
Hmm.
So you don't
Okay.
have to, you don't have to do anything as long as it was you who paid out of your pocket and then I received it from the vendors to give it back to you. Unless your company paid for it.
No, I paid for it.
Okay, yeah.
But, oh, awesome. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay. You satisfied with that, Brian?
Yeah, I'm good.
So yeah, so the public market is it's a general law. So there was a general law for a right to farm and an agricultural commission, and we had to put it to the town meeting for a vote to accept to have an agricultural commission who was charged with writing a right to farm bylaw for local. So basically, a public market is just another thing that we could bring to town. And again, it's for towns over 10,000 population, which we passed according to the census of 2010. We had 10,083 people in town. So since 2010, we've been eligible, apparently. So basically, my understanding of similar things so CPA, the Community Preservation Act, it's
Yeah.
very similar. You have to explain, you have to present information, talk to interested people, and get some support and bring it to town meeting as an article to get voted on. And just accepting that law in itself would not affect Luneburg any way whatsoever, financially, physically. It doesn't obligate us to do anything. It just makes it available if the opportunity arises.
It's a tax increase, though, isn't it, for the community?
EPA was, but it wasn't actually a tax increase. It was a surcharge, but that's technicality. There's no fee. There's no cost associated, as far as I know, with the public market. It's just accepting that as part of our town regulations and having it available if the opportunity arises. Whereas if the opportunity came up and we had not taken it on, then we wouldn't be able to do it until we did take it on. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think now is a perfect time to do it because we've got all this talk about the old buildings. What are we going to do with them? We're trying to relocate into TCP. We've got that $1 million bond bill that needs a plan, and community kitchen was mentioned there. TCP has a kitchen and a cafeteria. These are all just thoughts and ideas at this point that need buy-in and agreement and support from the town. Which is, I think what I'm going to try to encourage this group to start stepping up and being more proactive. That is basically our charge, is to promote agriculture in town. And if we can at least bring it into the public eye, whether or not it passes, it would be nice if it did pass. But basically the legwork for us on our end is to get all the information that we can on it and have discussions in this group and with other groups and try to get as many questions answered, as many naysayers addressed, as much information available as we can to answer any questions that may come up. I mean, I don't know who was at the town meeting when we decided to purchase the Lane property, but Brandon Kirby made the most eloquent presentation that I have seen at town meeting.
Yeah.
And that was a huge ask. And there was, I was going to say no dissenters, but there was one person in the back of the room who said no, but it passed, and that was a lot of money. But we got what, 150, 200 acres.
Yeah, what's the status on the Saliba property?
That is done deal. Purchase and sale, I believe, has been done, and I think they were talking last night at Concom about trying to get that transferred to the care and control of conservation.
What are your thoughts on community gardens? We have like a community, we're buying all this land.
Yep.
And some of the townspeople, they live in Whalum area or like the apartments. And it might be something we can try to pursue between all of us in town. I mean, I'm sure we could till some, acreage and then have community gardens.
Sure. I mean, I know of at least 2 people in town that are open to having that on their own private property. I know that there are ample opportunities on town-owned property to provide such.
Because Leominster does it at Sholin Farms. They have their own, they own the property, and then they have community gardens that the residents, I don't know if they pay a little bit of money for
I think
it.
it's 20 bucks.
It's $20.
A year?
Yeah, for the season.
Okay.
Which one's the Selena property, Stober?
It's on Northfield,
That big, huge one next to the golf course.
right next to the golf course.
Oh, yeah.
Further down.
I think that's a great idea to look into like community gardens for people and to get the people, like you said, the Whalum area that don't have anything.
Yeah, or just even people here in downtown. I mean, anywhere. It would be good, but I think it have to be a lot of interest shown before they even, because it's all wooded, right? Someone would have to go in there.
The majority, I haven't taken a walk myself, spoken at length with Brandon Kirby about it. He said that there was a large cleared area that's fairly level up at I think it's the end, it's not Stagecoach, but the road that.
Yeah, and I know what road you're talking about. I just don't know.
But he did say that there was a large open, fairly level, fairly flat, not necessarily.
So we'd have to approach conservation and ask them for a plot?
Well, I think right now it's still under the care and control of the selectmen.
Okay.
And this also brings up something else I wanted to talk about, was the potential for the Agricultural Commission to hold land.
Mhm.
Because every other commission, Sewer Commission, Parks Commission, cemeteries, they all oversee and operate either land, capital, or infrastructure.
Why couldn't the Agricultural Commission maybe oversee a piece of that Selena property and then do like Stober said and do like a community garden? I mean, that's right up our alley.
Right, and I don't see any reason that we couldn't. There may be differing opinions on different boards. I'm pretty sure, I brought this up on at least 3 occasions with town council and haven't got a whole lot of firm feedback, but my understanding is that that's just a simple making an appointment with the Board of Selectmen, going to a meeting and asking to allow the Agricultural Commission to hold land. That's my understanding of it, and I'm not sure that that's all there is to it, but again, I mean, commission typically oversees something. And right now, all the Agricultural Commission's been charged with is writing the right to farm bylaw and getting that passed, and that's been done. And now we mediate complaints about farming, and we run the farmers market. So,
On the complaints about farming, how do those get brought to our attention?
oh, the animal complaints?
Yeah.
It's always
Uh,
different. It's always different.
Go ahead.
it's always different. Sometimes it's the police chief. Sometimes it's us. Sometimes it's Kathy, the Como.
Yep.
Yeah, so Kathy's animal control. I'm not sure exactly where, but I'm pretty sure it is written down that animal complaints should be forwarded to the Agricultural Commission. So sometimes people call the Board of Health. They'll talk to Andrea, the admin of the Board of Health. Sometimes they'll, like you say, call the police, and sometimes they'll call animal control. In the past, like Sober said, it has been different, but oftentimes the people that are making the complaints are recommended to us, and they come to the meeting. And I remember it was a very long time ago, I think it was 2014, that we had our first complaint, and we were able to get Brad.
McNamara?
I'm sorry?
McNamara?
Brad Mitchell. He's a member of the Farm Bureau. He's also a member of the Board of Health in Littleton, and he's very active. He's part of the Mass Association of Agricultural Commissions. He's been a presenter at the MAAC meetings both times, the last 2 times that I've gone. Anyways, he came and he walked us through the first, what do they call it? Arbitration. I think that's what they call it, arbitrating. And basically it was somebody's animals were getting loose and coming into this other person's yard and making noise. And, you know, the right to farm doesn't protect about your animals getting loose. You farmers are responsible for containing their animals, and it's not only for the neighbors, it's for the safety and health of their own animals. I don't know any farmer that really doesn't care if their animals get loose, except if they're, you know, not domestic or free range. And even free range is kind of tough because some people don't like other people's birds coming in and dropping little turds on their property. Doesn't bother me, but a lot of people don't feel like I do. So anyways, it's noise complaints, and this is mostly noise complaints about roosters. And in our zoning, we allow for a flock of birds, a flock of chickens. I'm pretty sure a flock of chickens is what it says.
No number on them though, right?
No, and I believe it even says small, just a flock.
Yeah.
And my opinion of a flock is it requires a male. If you're gonna have, but it doesn't specifically say. So my interpretation is it does include rooster. But again, that's open for interpretation. And I guess when it comes down to it, the say-so of this commission is, at the end of the day, the final word on.
Right. Usually they go to Facebook too. That's the person. Everyone runs to Facebook first. Yeah. Complains about dogs or chickens, roosters, cows, whatever.
Yeah.
Then it spirals out of control.
Yeah. So interesting that you mentioned dogs. Dogs is not within our purview. Dogs is the Board of Selectmen.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. So I mentioned the public market. We just got done talking about holding land. The bylaw revision. So the third major item on their ongoing business is adjusting our bylaws, the verbiage and the numbers to reflect what the current state minimums are. And anybody who read that article on White Mars last week got some good insight as to the trend. The trend now is there are more farms in Massachusetts than there were, but they are on exceedingly smaller parcels of land. And I think it was 2016 that the state recognized farms. So before 2016, the minimum acreage for a farm was 5 acres. And in 2016, they recognized between 2 and 5 acre farms with some specific income requirements. But unfortunately, our bylaw still states the 5 acre minimum. And on top of that, our bylaw states that additional to the 5 acres, you need to have your minimum lot area per your zoning. So residence A and B, I think, are still 1 acre, and outlying is 2 acre. So if you've got if you've got a farm in residence A or B, then you have to have a minimum of 6 acres. And likewise, in outlying, you have to have a minimum of 7 acres. And we've already mentioned Tammy in this meeting. Tammy Pinefall Farm. She is down to 7 acres. That farm can get no smaller. As a neighbor, I've watched that in the last 30 years. It's changed hands probably 6 or 7 times, and each time it's gotten smaller. Thankfully, Tammy seems to be the forever owner for our lifetimes maybe. And she's done really, really well with that. But that was just on my mind for an example. And then Wendy Zwicker, I did reach out to her, and I had that conversation that Ryan had asked me to do. And in conversation with her, they've got 5.2 acres, but the requirement, though it does say 5 acres minimum, the minimum is exclusive of residents and paved areas. And then and then another common misunderstanding is a farm and farming are exempted from a lot of things through Chapter 40A, Section 3.
48.
But then there's this other general law, 61, which is tax code. So 40 is zoning and 61 is tax. So if you've got a farm and you want to go into the forestry part of the chapter, you have to have a minimum 10 acres. But for agriculture and recreation, the minimum is 5, but it's exclusive of residential areas. So the house and a garage and paved surfaces would need to be excluded, but I'm pretty sure it sounded from reading it over that barns and ag related structures would not be excluded. So anyways, the revisions that we've talked about here for a number of years are just changing the number 5 to the number 2. And in a few areas, I think I had an outline of 5 or 6 different instances where it showed up in the zoning. And in previous discussions, I'm not sure, these may have even preceded Greg and Jorge, Ryan and Jorge. But there were some instances that we didn't need to change it, and others that we thought it would. There were some areas that we didn't think the town would buy into changing it, and then others that we thought that the town might, and we would be more interested in focusing on those because they would be more beneficial. They would be more inclusive to include smaller parcels. And again, the White Mars article last week in the Ledger was focusing on the shifts from large parcels to small parcels and the economies of scale and what was involved about downsizing and getting more out of the same land, and the different ways that that's being achieved. We're like, instead of a field, tilling by row as crops are harvested, tilling smaller areas and allowing you to get 2 or 3 harvests instead of just one. And Jorge, if you'd like to speak to this, feel free.
Have there been others with the same issues that we know of?
What? I'm sorry. What issue?
The acreage and becoming a farm.
Oh, well, I just mentioned Wendy's Wicker.
Yep.
She's 5.2 acres, and it wouldn't qualify for the chapter program.
Yep. She's strictly horses over there too. And I know you said that horse boarding and you have to be a breeder to be considered a farm in the eyes. Would that have conflicted with her as well?
Right. Well, in the discussions with her, it seemed evident to me that in order to get what she was looking for, she would probably want to seek recreation. So forestry, agriculture, and recreation are the 3 categories that will qualify for the tax reduction. She didn't have the 10 acres, which is required for forestry. She didn't have the 5+ acres, which is required for agriculture. Plus, she didn't have the commodities. I mean, even with the 5-acre minimum, there were still income requirements. You had to have $500 for the first 5 acres, and then $5 additional per acre, something like that. It's something strange, but it did seem like that her acreage would qualify for the recreation if she was able to gain some more land. And I know her 3 abutters, and I know 2 of them are interested in promoting agriculture and would work with, and I've spoken with one of them. So there are possibilities, and if you don't have enough, then there is always the possibility of looking at a neighbor to have a land swap, or just buying land. It does have to be contiguous. They have to touch. But and again, the 5 acres wasn't reduced for the tax qualification. So the 61 still is at 5-acre minimum, but the ability to be a farm has been reduced. And the farm allows for some relief from zoning. And it allows for general farming practice, accepted standard farming practice, which is kind of redundant with the right to farm. And our local right to farm is redundant to the state local right to farm. But it's just, the more times you say it, the more likely it's going to be heard. So we've touched on public market, AgCom holding land, and bylaw references.
Mhm.
Any more questions or comments on those 3?
I'm gonna reach out to Leominster and see how their community gardens is handled. They don't have an AgCom in Leominster, so I just want to see what it's like and see if I can talk to the person in charge.
Well, if they don't have an AgCom, then they can't have a right to farm bylaw, as far as I know, because that has to be brought forth from the AgCom.
I'm just gonna ask.
Sure. Yeah, all the input is valuable, you know,
Yeah.
Positive, negative. Positive input will help us. Negative input will provide us with things that we need to find answers to.
Mhm.
Mhm. So that's that. I was looking at the list of farms the other day, and I think there's at least 3 of them that are gone now.
What are those 3?
Doug McMillan's was Borrowed Acres.
Mhm.
I know somebody else is planning on moving shortly, so they're going to be fun. Hidden Warren Homestead has already left, I believe.
Yeah, they just moved.
And I don't remember any others off the top of my head, but
Did they sell their property?
I don't think they put it up yet.
Okay.
You mean Warren's?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they have. But Woody's has gotten bigger.
Yep.
Um,
Well, it's still in transit. It's still court lawyer stuff.
Sure, but I mean, it's pending.
Yep.
And White Mars is new since we started the farm list.
Mhm.
Trying to think of who else. Low Places Ranch, I believe, is new since we started the farm list. Is it?
Yep, and we just got our farm plates a few months ago too.
Ooh, nice. Congrats.
That was
That's
a,
an- that's an-
but
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
that was just a process.
Well, farm plates is another thing that you need to be a farm to qualify for. So not only the tax relief, but also other things associated with farming. Farm plates are huge. I remember growing up, we had them, and it was pretty simple process. And now it's very lengthy. You required the state police come out and inspect your farm.
Yep.
And you've got to file Schedule F, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, all kinds of hoops. So you probably are more knowledgeable about that process than I am at this point. So if we wanted to have a listening session and you were willing to, I would love to find out exactly what was involved.
Okay.
But it's not on our agenda tonight, so.
That's fine.
So the other things that are on there is swag for AgCom and Farmers Market, the hats and shirts and bags and stuff. Lonnie's something on that? Okay. Lonnie Orchard had reached out to the town, numerous different parts of the town, requesting extension of the water and sewer down Chase Road sometime last year. And I don't think that there's been a lot of forward progress on that.
No.
There was this new farm, the one that BOS saw, the lettuce factory.
Yep.
That will, in my mind, help the AgCom bring focus onto Lonnie Orchard, because that greenhouse is going to require a sewer extension. It's going to require probably a public water supply well, which is just huge permitting and red tape and paperwork. They're gonna need free power. I'm pretty sure it's available right there at Mass Ave, but there's a number of things that will need to be expanded for that to happen, and I think that would be a good example to start off with, bringing that conversation back up about extending the infrastructure. And then I also remember when Lonnie brought it up, I did a look-see, and I think the extension will even be shorter to get it to Cherry Hill. And then there was a possibility of even getting it over to Stillman's. But again, these are huge undertakings that involve massive amounts of coordination with different groups and committees and commissions and buy-in from the town officials and the department heads and everything. So it's no easy road or short time thing. But a lot of the commercial agricultural pursuits require stuff like that. Like, it's almost impossible to do a lot of things on a septic system and with a private well. So I believe there was 8 different properties in town that are APR'd. So the agricultural preservation restriction, so they have sold their development rights to hold the land exclusively for the pursuit of commercial agriculture. Now, that kind of a commitment to a large parcel of land to the town to not develop it, I would think would benefit reciprocity from the town in good faith, saying, well, we'd like to help you develop that commercial agriculture. And I would love to see that. I have yet to, but I have hope. And then the map of Luneburg farms, I briefly touched on that when I said some of them are gone. But it's some come and some go. So, and the trend has been when we lose one large one, then we'll get one or two small ones. And I like to bring it up, the conversation that I had with Doug and Marilyn McMillan. They were telling me about their story, and I think he said he moved to Luneburg in '53, and there were 40-something dairies in Luneburg, active dairies. And then in the Red Book of '79, written by Luneburg, there were only 3. And since then, we've lost cooks, and there's 2, and now we're well aware of the situation of the 2 existing dairies. So that brings us to the end of our ongoing items. And the next agenda item is public comment, open discussion. And we still have Stephanie with us. What does that mean? Unmute. I have unmuted Stephanie. I didn't really intentionally mute.
Thank you.
To begin with. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, that's all right. Thanks for having me. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just saying, welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Yeah, so just a quick kind of background. So I know Mary Ray for many years. I used to actually be her 4-H leader once upon a time. And I saw she was on the board, but I seen someone had posted about there being an opening. And I have a small farm. It's just shy of 5 acres right in the center of town. I'm just a horse farm. I don't sell anything. I don't board. I don't make profit, but very interested in what's happening with the town as far as agriculture is concerned. And so I wanted to join and listen in and see what the meeting's about and the discussion. So here I am.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you for coming. And we do have one alternate member position open. I don't know if you heard me describing the alternate before, but it's basically they're a member with everything except the ability to vote in general when there's a quorum of existing members. But with the alternates, they have the ability to make a quorum if we are shy of regular members. So if in the event that we only had 2 regular members and 1 alternate, then that alternate could make the 3-member quorum to have the public meeting. We could have the meeting. And I believe in that instance, they would be able to make votes.
Okay.
So that's what we have available. We have in the past had a discussion about once we get full membership of the 7 spots, then we'll try to get 7 appointment members and then 2 alternates to bring our group up to 9. And that's just the discussion that we've had in the past. And that would involve going to the Board of Selectmen. I don't think we're written in the charter. We may be in the charter, I'm not quite sure. But if the designation of Agricultural Commission is in the charter, then it would require a charter revision. but I don't think it is, honestly. But neither here nor there, that ability is there to increase our membership. So I don't know if you have any interest in applying to that, the alternate vacancy, or if you were, after seeing us meet, were interested at all. I don't know. It's totally up to you. We are.
Yeah, no, I would like to apply. So just let me know. I can talk to Mary Ray about how to go about doing that.
Okay. Well, I'll give you the overview. Is basically it would be a recommendation from the membership of the Agricultural Commission, a recommendation for appointment to the AgCom, but we would have to go to the Board of Selectmen, and the Board of Selectmen would make that appointment.
Okay.
So it's typically, it's just a matter of dotting your I's and crossing your T's and getting the paperwork in. Typically, there's a talent bank form that gets filled out and submitted to Elaine Peterson, who is the admin for the Board of Selectmen. And then they would get you on the Board of Selectmen agenda for an appointment. And it always looks good if you're there, but it's not a requirement. You don't even have to be there to be appointed. Typically, just the recommendation from the group is enough for the BOS to make the appointment. I know that last Monday in Planning Board, we had we made 2 appointments to our open space subcommittee, and I don't believe, no, both members were there, yes, but we didn't, we only got a recommendation from the chair, and that open space had not even met to get the recommendation from that body. So I'm thinking nothing's really written in stone. It's just kind of general practice. And in my time here, I've tried to emulate what I've seen other groups do. So if you are interested, then I think that we should probably put you on the agenda for our next meeting, which should be in August, the 3rd Thursday of August.
Right here.
Which is 21st. And if you were interested in that, we could do that. I'm not sure. I mean, it does seem like we can expedite this and just forward it to the BOS. But in interest of keeping everything the way it should be, I think it would behoove us to go ahead and put you on the agenda for the next meeting and make the recommendation then.
Okay, and is there any kind of paperwork you mentioned filling out?
Yes, there's what we call a talent bank form. And,
Okay.
and conveniently enough, Agricultural Commission is the very first checkbox. And so basically the form, it asks your name, and your interests and your background.
Sure.
And that would be helpful. That would be helpful for us to make the recommendation, and it would be helpful for the Board of Selectmen to make the appointment.
Does she do that before or after the next meeting?
She can do that. She can do that as soon as she likes.
Oh, okay.
And I would recommend that she send it to me and to Elaine, since the AgCom needs to make the recommendation and the BOS makes the appointment. So if you guys are unfamiliar with any of the people that I'm mentioning or any of the terms that I'm using, feel free to ask. So
No,
that's
I've seen the forms on the Luneburg.gov site, so and addresses, the email addresses, so I can find the form and
yep,
your
exactly.
email.
Beautiful.
There's the little window at Town Hall when you go to the stairs, go to the window to the left. That's where You get it. You knock on the window and someone comes out and gives you stuff.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like a drive through.
Like rat training.
Yeah.
That was good. Where's my treat? Okay, excellent. Well, that's super to have full 7 people. That will be great. Just more minds for more input. So we're still in public comment, open discussion.
Can board members speak?
Of course.
Okay. You guys know me, I get confused with the whole voting process thing. I would like to rescind as clerk, withdraw, because I really don't think that I can handle it as a duty. I just don't think I'm qualified enough for it.
How about if I don't force you to do the minutes?
No, but that's not part of it. I kind of just want to be a member, if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine. I
Okay,
don't wanna,
okay.
I don't want to guilt you at all. No problem.
And the voting thing, I felt pressured on the voting. I just don't.
Sure.
I wish
Okay.
we could have done like another meeting and then like known that we were going to go into nominating people.
Okay.
But, sorry.
So it may be a little uncouth, but is there anybody that's willing to take the clerk position?
I'll be the clerk, but I'm not going to be here in August. So
Okay.
most of August I'm gone. But I'll be the clerk. I don't care.
Okay. So can someone make a motion and a second for Ryan to be the clerk?
I'll motion.
Okay.
Ryan to be the clerk.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, very good. So now we're gonna have to do a roll call vote. So Mr. Stober, all in
Aye.
favor? All in favor, Mr. Stober?
Aye.
Mr. Burns?
Aye.
Mr. Marduka?
Aye.
Ms. Holman?
Aye.
And an aye for myself. Excellent. Congratulations, Ryan. You are clerk. And
Yay.
Greg off the hook.
Sorry, guys.
No worries, dude. No worries. So that's aside. So we've already set our next meeting. It's August 21st, right? And Ryan has already said he's not going to be there.
Yeah, I'm out of town.
Okay. Will you have internet access and the inclination to join?
Yeah, I should have internet. I'll touch base before then.
Okay. No worries. No worries if you don't. So then I guess.
Do we have to put it on the agenda for the next meeting to somehow get a plan or figure out who and how and why to reach out to the Board of Selectmen and maybe the police department, just so as a reminder that we are here and we can help and whatnot?
If you have an idea are you thinking of like writing a letter?
Whatever you think is the best and way to get the point across. I just wish we were more involved in stuff like that.
I completely concur. So since you're the person who's expressed the interest, and I assume that you've got some motivation, I would be happy to have you draft a letter and we can all discuss it at the next meeting.
Okay.
If you're comfortable with that. If you've got another idea, then I'd be happy to hear that.
No, that's fine. If the letter's the easiest way.
I think I found it difficult to get a group of us to go to any other meetings. I mean, we've done it before, but
Better go to both the Board of Selectmen and the police department.
So the board, not the Board of Selectmen so much, it's the Board of Health, get a lot of complaints about
Yeah.
cleanliness and manure and whatnot, smells.
Yeah.
The police, they're just typically the go-to people for people who want to complain about their neighbors.
Yeah.
And as well as the animal control. If people have problem with animals, oftentimes they just pick up the phone and call animal control.
Okay.
So those
Does she know that she can reach out to us at any point with any livestock issues?
I have said as much on a number of occasions to Kathy, and I even at my first opportunity reached out to her to see if she had interest in becoming a member or at least an alternate, so she would be there at the meetings.
Yep.
Does she still do the barn inspections?
Yeah.
She does?
Yep.
Yep. So, and the barn inspections is typically how we take care of not having a number of acceptable animals per acre.
Mhm.
It's always been handled by the ACO through the barn inspections,
Okay.
to the best of my knowledge.
Right.
So we will outreach. So complaint outreach, I put that on the agenda.
Maybe I could put it in the letter. I know I would be willing to, or if any of the other members, to maybe go with her or help with the barn inspections. I know they're just yearly, but not that she needs help, but it would be, that way one of us as a member would be going around to the farms and they could have a face to the Ag Commission as well. I know sometimes we're not there when she does the things, but it might be another way to get our foot in the door with the farmers and everything and letting them know we're here to help.
Sure.
It's our routine thing that she does.
Mhm.
We could assist her.
I think that sounds like a great idea, but I'm not sure how receptive she may or may not be to that.
Okay.
I certainly don't want to try to come off as forceful or pushy or like power grabbing or anything. And it's not something that hasn't happened before. So yeah, we certainly can reach out to people. And again, anybody in this membership, by being a member, it does not take away any of your individual rights or abilities as a citizen. So anybody can at any time send an email to anybody in town government. I will caution against speaking for any group. So typically that's another thing that the chair does. I guess I don't think I mentioned that, is that the chair can speak for the group in other bodies. I try not to, because sometimes things come up and it's something that we may or may not have discussed, and I can't speak to something that we haven't necessarily discussed. And also sometimes we discuss things and everybody doesn't agree. So, I mean, I can relate those discussions as long as I'm accurate about the representation of we weren't in full agreement, or it wasn't unanimous, or it's something that we've barely talked about, or no, we've never broached that subject, or whatever. But anyways, as far as reaching out to town members and people in town government and department heads and employees and whatnot, make it personal, and you can mention that you're a member of the AgCom, but be very clear that you're not speaking for the AgCom is all. I know that comes up periodically with different groups. And it gets even harder when you're a member to multiple groups. So the big thing here is open meeting law. There's not a big interest, as far as I can see, anymore about tattling on ourselves about to the Attorney General about violating open meeting law, but it is there. So just a word of caution is all. So any more comments, discussion?
I'm good.
Wow, we went an hour longer than our last meeting. This is good. This is good. I hope everybody feels the same, that it was good and productive. And so what I've got is a potential applicant for the alternate position, and the discussion about an outreach letter. Those are two things for new business for next meeting. Did we have anything else that we wanted on the agenda for next meeting?
Is the lettuce farm part of that had to come to the AdCom first on like, not just that farm, but I mean in general?
Yeah.
I don't know how you want to put that.
If nobody objects, I would like to just throw some questions out to different people rather than something official from the AdCom.
I'm good with that.
I can certainly mention that it did come up and that we were surprised that we hadn't heard about it. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, did anybody hear about that until the BOS meeting? Or
I heard from Ryan. He sent me a text that he was heard about sent me the Bright Farms was possibly coming to Luneburg, and I didn't even know who they were. So I looked it up and I got from there, and then thanks, Ryan. I ended up watching the whole meeting too. So
I mean, it was a good pamphlet, tons of info on them.
it was. You said it was a good
It was good.
presentation. It was a good presentation. I hear you on that.
Okay, so I don't know how much I described before, but I saw it on the agenda the day of, and then I watched the meeting. But as soon as I saw it on the agenda, I reached out to Elaine, who is the administrator for the Board of Selectmen, and asked her if I could get the information on that. And she said that she could send it to me tomorrow because it wasn't public information until it goes to the meeting. So technically she did. She sent it to me first thing in the morning. So I have the PDF of the slides that were presented that I distribute to anybody that wants them. I can actually, what I'd really like to do is have everybody, what I want and what I get are two different things, but I'd like to get everybody using their town email. But
How do we get on there?
I'm sorry?
Where do we sign in and our password and all that good stuff?
Somebody should have reached out to you. I think, is Kira still on?
Yeah, I got an email from, I think it was a Steven.
Steve Melandrino.
Yep, he sent me a link to the email.
Okay, so Steve is our IT director, and I'm surprised he hasn't done the same thing for Mary Ray. He may not have a contact info for you, so if you want.
I got mine before I was even sworn in or anything. They sent it right away, like the second I put in the paperwork, or maybe it was right after the meeting.
Okay. And have you been able to log in and use it?
I haven't tried yet because I wasn't sworn in yet, but I still have the email with the link.
Okay. Very good. Anybody at any time can feel free to reach out to me if they need help doing anything that's related to this group. And I will do my best to facilitate whatever it is that you need to get done. I don't have a problem making contacts on my own or giving you contacts to get in touch with, however you'd like to handle things. But the email does go through Steve. So it's S. Malandrinos, so the IT director. So if you're familiar with the LuneburgMass.gov page, which is our town website, he's I think it's the IT department probably has that group under the departments. In fact, I can look right now. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Oh, that's my agenda. Oh, that's all right. The only thing we have to do left is adjourn. So, so government departments and information technology. So Director Stephen Melandrino, so he's right there. There's a phone number and an email for him.
Can we go back over the differences between the vice chair and the clerk thing? I don't know if, I mean, I've only been on here, this is my first real meeting, so maybe I shouldn't be on do the vice chair to start. Like, what's the clerk versus the vice chair?
I'm sorry, what is the what versus the vice chair? The clerk versus the vice chair.
Yeah.
So typically, I don't think the vice chair has any specific duties aside from running the meeting in the absence of the chair. So as far as that goes, you're pretty safe because I think I've only missed 5 meetings in 8 years.
Okay.
Okay?
Do you mind if I back down for right now, just where I'm at with our business-wise and meeting attendance? I want to make sure that I can at least give me 6 months on the commission and make sure I can be at everything and before I take on that responsibility.
If that's what you want, then I will let that happen. Yes, it's
Okay.
unusual, but
Can we redo the vote on everything? Sorry, we're going back to normal. Stober. Matt Stober.
we can, as long as we do it correctly.
Unless Stober doesn't want it.
Who wants to be clerk?
I mean, it's writing the minutes, right? Is there like a template for that?
There should be.
No, it's basically reading other minutes and trying to do it. Yeah, I don't think any group does it exactly the same. I mean, if you look at all of our agendas, they're all a little slightly different as well. I've modeled ours after the planning board because I liked it and it made sense.
Okay. I'll go ahead and give that a try before jumping up to the vice chair, if that's okay with Ryan, if we can swap.
So to verbalize the interest is fine, but we do need to officiate it with motions and seconds. So, okay. So is there any objection to me remaining as chair?
No.
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 Okay,
No.
so you can skip that. Mary Ray doesn't want to be the vice chair. She is open to being the clerk or no? Mary Ray?
Rose.
Mary Ray? Oh, that's weird. I saw her microphone get green, but I still don't hear her. Let me try to mute you and unmute you.
Hi.
Okay, Mary Ray, it's telling me that you've muted yourself. It's giving me the option to ask to unmute.
I wonder if we should reorganize.
You know what we could do is we could put it on the agenda for next meeting and put it off till then. I don't.
So she just texted me her computer went down.
Oh, okay. So,
She'll be right back, she said.
no, in that case, then it might behoove us to do it at the next meeting.
Yeah, that's fine.
Does anybody object to that? No?
No.
Okay. All right.
I did want to say one thing, like the voting thing, I apologize. I didn't, how to put it? I like chair, vice chair, and then go from there, you know what I mean? It's,
No worries.
yeah, it didn't seem like Ryan wanted it. I didn't know.
I don't care.
Ryan, so or whatever. So why don't we just maybe reorganize or?
So that's going to remain on the agenda for our next meeting.
Awesome.
So this was a practice round apparently.
Okay. It's just been so hectic. It's yeah.
And that's all right. This governmental rigmarole, it's not intuitive at all. You should have seen me. I was like a bull in a china shop for my first couple of years. I was adamant about certain things, and I feel that I've kind of slowed my roll a little bit. But anyways, so anything else? Anybody? Anything? No? Do we have Mary Ray back yet?
Oh, I'm gonna tell her to come back on.
Not yet.
Hold on.
So as it stands, we have Matt, Ryan, and then clerk is question for the original.
No, we don't have Ryan yet either. And in fact, we should probably revote all 3 positions next month,
Okay.
Well, he's not gonna be.
just to be crystal.
Yeah.
If I have internet, I should have internet. Yeah, we'll have internet up there, but
If not, Ryan, we'll just let us know and we'll figure it out. You know what I mean?
yeah.
We've actually appointed the clerk position to a member who was not present in past. So the person themselves doesn't necessarily need to be present. It just has to be moved, seconded, and voted on.
Mm-hmm.
So we're understanding you, Ryan, that you're open to taking the vice chair position.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So.
All right, Ryan.
So whether or not you're there, as long as we have a quorum and we meet, then we can move and second and vote on that.
Perfect. Unless Jorge wants chair, vice chair.
Anything.
I think Mary's trying to call him. No, yeah.
See Mary Ray.
Trying to call back in.
All right. So we really don't need, well, I just want to make sure Mary Ray doesn't have any more questions.
She's trying to get back on.
Oh, she just said she's trying to get back on.
Okay.
Don't leave a bunch of farmers in charge of computers. Believe me.
So were there any specifics that anybody, and again, anybody is more than welcome to reach out to anybody involved in town on their own. But I intend to make some inquiries about the lettuce farm. Any specific questions anybody wants to ask? Why they go to the BOS? That's going to be one of my questions. Why we weren't informed is going to be another one.
Yeah, at least like, even if they don't, come to us for a meeting, if we could just be involved, like in the BOS meeting would have been nice.
Right.
That's all.
All right. Are we adjourning or are we waiting for her?
Well, I wanted to wait and see if you had any more questions.
Yeah, she's in. She thinks she's muted, but she's here. She can hear us.
She may be muted, actually. This tends to mute new people. Unmute. How's that, Mary Ray?
Okay, hi. Sorry. I'm in the new house and the Wi-Fi isn't the greatest and it shot me out, so I'm calling from the house phone. But I'm back.
Congrats on that, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah, new house. Congratulations.
Thanks.
All right. So we were waiting to take a motion for adjournment to make sure you didn't have any more questions, comments, or anything else.
Nope, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Very good. Then I would be looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
Second. Okay. Excellent. We are adjourned at 8:53. Woo!
It's a record.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you very much.